Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Better Together, the Disco Edition. It's July 1st, 2020. We are still in quarantine. Woohoo!
Still in quarantine. It's July.
Yeah, still in quarantine. Our quote of the day, change the way you look at things, and things you look at change. That's by the great Wayne Dyer. So I'm not going to look at quarantine as a prison sentence. I'm going to look at it as a gift. And we're going to talk to Dr. Amanda Gummer today about the positive benefits and the habits of quarantine and how to maintain them as we transition back into life. Although we're not transitioning back into life, but whatever. You know what I'm saying.
Well, we were, but now we're not again.
For like a split second we were, and now we're not. But some places are. So if you happen to be in one of those places that is momentarily transitioning back into life until you all realize that Corona's on the rise where you are too, and then you go back into quarantine, I don't know what I'm talking about. My point is, there were positive things about the quarantine, and we are going to go over them today and figure out a way to maintain them. It's a nice way to think of the positives during more negatives, right?
Absolutely. We need it right now more than ever.
It is definitely, one of those times.
I mean, there are benefits. I candidly fear I've probably not been eating and as well as I could be, and maybe I've been drinking a little more than I normally would be without lockdown, but I've really enjoyed the quality time with Laura, and we've gone over some of that with relationships, and that's a huge. Dr. Gummer's whole thing is talking about the intimacy that's fostered when we actually spend time with our family. That includes her kids. So she has some practical takeaways and ways we can actually be engaging with both our children and our significant others during this time to take advantage of it.
But do people still like their kids now, months later?
I don't like their kids.
No, I'm serious, because the truth is, it was a beautiful novelty in the beginning. It's like, oh my God, I can have family dinner and I can do all this. I think now people are probably like, get me away.
Well, I think liking your kids and loving your kids are two different things, right?
I don't know. I don't have them.
You should do both.
Yeah, but I think every parent would admit it's not always probably the highlight of their life or their day to be on call and on demand with their kids at all times, but it's the most filling and the most joyful. Joy and happiness are two different things.
My brother loves spending time with his kids. He absolutely loves spending time with his kids. It's when his wife goes away and he gets to just literally have the 1-year-old Henry to himself for a weekend, he absolutely loves it. What he doesn't love is having to work at home and also spend time with the kids.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
I think at first it was like, oh, this is so cool. I get to be home with my kids. But now I can't imagine at this point, right?
What do you think would be worse, though, Maria? Do you think it'd be worse to have the kids at home that are toddlers, or the 30-year-old still lives at home, doesn't have a job that you're now spending all day and night having to live with and clean up their wrappers and empty glasses from around your house?
Ooh.
I almost would rather be raising kids than dealing with raised kids.
Yeah, I think the toddlers sound much better because they have to listen. They have no choice.
Then you and Kevin should go ahead. Just have the kids.
Yeah, there you go.
You already have a bunch of 30-year-olds.
Guys,
True.
I'm sitting here and I'm peeling the rest of my pre-COVID gels.
They're finally coming
It
off.
lasted though, Maria.
Guys, I still have 3 left. And one just started peeling. Do you know I bought the acetone to remove it, and then I realized I'm too lazy. So I just kind of left them there as a reminder. I mean, when will I ever again say I've had the same nail polish on since February? When will I ever say again I still have the same gas tank? I have not gotten gas since February.
Wow.
Oh, that's impressive.
In which car?
On my personal car.
I don't know which one that is.
It doesn't matter. It's my personal car.
That's insane.
But it's
Since
true.
February?
Since February. Where have I gone? I've been in quarantine.
Yeah, that's impressive.
You should fire it up just to make sure the battery still works.
I mean,
Ooh,
I drove
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I
it's
drove
true.
it the other day. I had to
Okay.
go make a return on a gift that Dimitri got me, and you only have a certain amount of days, and then you can't do it. So I had to go. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing. So I'm like, wow, these are kind of interesting things to say. Although the other thing that's nutso is we were just getting out of quarantine. Remember I said we're going to know by the end of June or early
Yep.
July. Well, here we are. I kind of didn't think we were going to, but here we are. And we're on the rise. And it just makes me concerned
What do you-
about our industry because I'm looking at Kevin. I'm like, okay, we kind of thought we'd be going back to work soon, and
But do you
kinda
think
isn't happening?
do you think it's just kind of life goes on and they're going to move to other states where they will let them do production?
Yeah, well, I remember talking to a friend of mine who works at NBC, and they're going out of the country for some productions, but yeah, but it's on the rise in so many places, right? It's going to be whack-a-mole, right?
Yeah.
You're going to move to a place, go start production, and then it's going to get on the rise, and then you're going to have to move again and shut down. Like I think it's a little bit of whack-a-mole.
I just can't imagine actually shooting. Like the thing with an office is, you can separate cubicles and, only bring half your staff in. But like a set, it's hard for me to picture filming something with social distancing, filming something with a skeleton crew. I mean, we might see a big rise in like indies, which I like because I like indie movies. But even that, you have crafty, you have to feed. It's really hard for me to picture how this will get done, but I think executives are so desperate for it to get done that they're doing everything they can.
Yeah.
I like the concept of like taking the production, quarantine for 2 weeks, and having everyone work together. Like it's kind of like movies are now going to be the new age summer camp. Like you only interact with the people in the set, and you're going to have imagine how like they have the shrimpers or the people on the king crab fishing boats where you have the same chef, you have the same 5 people you work with. They're going to have like the movie set chef, and they're going to have like the movie set hair person, and it's going to be like a micro production with people who are just really good at what they do.
Well, wasn't like Tyler Perry housing all his people? Right?
Yeah.
Like that's just
Yeah.
that's crazy to me.
I think it's fun because you get to bond and stuff, which
Yeah.
is really important on a production. But I know that a production that was filming on my street, using the house across the street as like a base camp, just put a note on our door saying that they're resuming production. And I'm like, how? Like we just literally in the interim of them sending it and probably moving forward, they're probably going to have to cancel right away again.
Well, The Bachelorette's going into production this month.
What?
Yeah, they
Yes.
quarantined, just like Steven said. They did the 2-week quarantine, and they're staying on one resort, kind of Bachelor in Paradise style. In fact, Kelsey, you're kind of our new Bachelor brain over at the network.
That's right. Reality Steve told us the other day that they rented this whole resort, and it's gonna be crazy. So they're doing all their dates, everything is happening there.
Everyone in the chat is asking, because no one else is monitoring the chat. Everyone else in the chat is saying, who is the girl in the booth?
Hi,
Girl in the
everyone.
booth,
Girl in the
identify
booth.
yourself.
My name is Kelsey. I'm the girl in the booth. Hi. So nice to meet you.
I love how the
guys.
steamer's the only one who knows. He's like, Kelsey?
We got Ryan in here
Thank you,
too.
the steamer, and Rye Guy's back here. Hey.
Everyone's training. Everyone's learning because Steven's flying the coop.
Yes. And
here we
Kelsey
are.
and Ryan, as you
Can
guys
I
both
come
know,
with you,
are-
Steven?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. That didn't sound really inviting. Thanks.
I love
won't
the
come.
idea of Maria walking off
Do
the
you really want to
plane.
get on a plane?
No.
I wanna fly far away. I wanna flap my own wings.
Oh.
I had
We
a
need
really
to.
good interview, by the way, with Ed Milet yesterday, who we had on the show recently. I just did his podcast yesterday. Really cool time with him. He's awesome.
Did you have a breakthrough on his show like he had a breakthrough on your show?
No, he ended up getting more breakthroughs from me on the show. It was really cool. I was like, you're really good at this because you listen. And that's the most important thing somebody interviewing somebody can do is listen. The great Charlie Sheen once complimented me on my listening skills.
Winning.
Hey.
Yep, I interviewed him on the set of my mom's favorite show, 2.5 Men. And I interviewed him, and I'll never forget. He was like, "You're really good at this. You know why? Because you listen. Nobody else listens." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." I was at Entertainment Tonight. I was like just fresh and new. But he listens, and he catches things that other people don't catch, which is really cool. He's obviously uber successful. I mean, for private jets, to me,
Not bad.
uber successful
pretty
is an
uber.
appropriate label. And you can see why he really catches things. So it was a fun interview. If you guys want to check it out, I think he probably posted it by now.
I can't wait. I know they shoot a little in advance, so I'll see if it's up. But if it is, we'll definitely put it in the description. If not, I'll make sure that we announce it on the show when it's up.
Perfect, guys. One little crumb left on the nail, so that means I'll be down to 2. I know this is big information for you.
I have
Breaking
a really
news.
possibly dumb question, Maria.
Mhm.
What do you do with 4 private jets?
I don't
That's a
know.
good question,
Like
Steven.
I would fly
can't,
alone in one and then put everybody else in the others.
So that's 2. So now you have 2. Do you have like the one family member you don't like and the third one?
It's for quarantine.
I don't know.
You can all fly separate.
Like, are
during-
you expecting to have one in Vegas so you can have a road trip and then fly back?
I don't know.
But then how many cars do you have?
Ooh.
I need to know. I need to know this.
Four's a lot. Like, 4's a lot.
Yeah.
4?
It's almost church preacher status.
Church preacher status? What does that
Oh
mean?
yeah, those televangelists, they have like 8 private jets.
They do?
Joel
for God.
Osteen.
For
Joel Osteen
God.
has a lot of jets.
He
Yeah.
does?
Oh yeah, they got a lot
Why
of
do
jets.
you need so many jets? I'm so confused.
Great. See, I'm a big, I'm very serious in my faith, but I have a lot of problems with televangelists. They called it the prosperity gospel. So they're these preachers who say that unless you're making a lot of money, you're not being a good Christian.
No way.
Yeah, and that's a big trend in the American evangelical church.
Wow.
There's an amazing show on HBO, Maria, called shoot, it just popped out of my head. You know the show I'm talking
Yeah, it's Danny McBride.
Danny
it's,
McBride.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
The
the
gemstones.
Royal
The-
Gemstones.
yeah. And it's basically making fun of this community of like scammy televangelists who take advantage of people at their worst.
So
Wow.
the only thing I can think of is maybe, you know how like people who are in the music industry wear like chains and stuff and like gold chains because
Yeah.
jewelry can't be taken by the cops if you're arrested.
Really?
I wonder if
I didn't know
jets. I wonder if
How
jets
do
are the
you know
same.
all this?
I
didn't know
gotta
that.
be.
You don't know
I'm
that?
No.
That's why like it was started with like Big E and like a lot of these rappers who were the cops were on the out trying to find reasons to arrest them. It's personal property. It's not liquid income. It's not money. So they're not allowed to take it as if it's money. It's a personal property that you get back when you get out of prison. That's why you saw lots of. That's where
Steven
bling
with all
came
the
from.
tips and
History
tricks.
lesson.
Oh, weird. Okay. Well, I have not seen that. I've been very invested in Pauly D and Vinny's Double Shot at Love Part 2.
Ooh.
How is it this season? I haven't seen.
It's so good. It's so good. I'm obsessed, and I've been very invested in Rick and Morty. That's what it's called?
Oh jeez, Rick.
Yeah. So good.
So good.
I love that you're watching Rick and Morty, Maria.
I love Rick and Morty.
What's your favorite so far?
They're
Like your
all
favorite
amazing.
situation.
They're all amazing. I don't have a favorite. Every time I'm like blown away.
Good.
I think they're so great. I'm so into it. And yeah, I haven't gotten to see Eurovision yet. I'm dying to get to
my
see
gosh,
that.
Oh,
it's so good.
We-
And
That sounds like an outdoor movie night or something.
Yeah.
it does.
Yes.
It does. So yeah, guys, we have to talk potatoes.
Oh, that's right.
This
we
is
do.
a really important subject, everybody. Here at Better Together.
Yeah, I can tee this up.
Jeff, go for it.
It's crazy. We talked a little bit about on the show about how the supply chain for food is just breaking in this country because when the hospitality industry shuts down, the food element of hospitality shuts down as well. So if there's no hotels, there's no cruises, there's no events, a lot of food that used to get distributed to those manufacturers and event coordinators has nowhere to go. So potatoes have taken a particularly hard hit. Steven, I don't know if you're showing the footage, but
Yeah, we're gonna show the footage. We're also gonna, get some music in here for this
Wait,
for
are
potato
those
footage.
all the potatoes that they're killing?
yeah, they're just getting...
Do you know?
Aren't gonna end up
I
on
feel
your
like we
dinner
never have enough potatoes in our house. Like we're always like, God, there's no potatoes. We need more potatoes. My dad slices them like the wide way, and then he bakes them in the oven with a little olive oil and some oregano and
So
salt
good.
and pepper, and they almost become like potato chips but thicker. So they're crispy on the outside, little soggy on the inside, but like thin, and they're friggin' delicious.
Yeah, I mean, they're donating some, which is good, but sometimes coordinating that can be expensive. And we talked
Oh my
about
God, for sure. You have to hire people to gather them. You have to hire people to ship them. Shipping them's expensive. It's not that easy.
yeah, and we even the charity infrastructure is even being affected by COVID. Unfortunately it's just the global economy in general is taking a huge hit. And I don't know, just if you were listening to the podcast, I'd advise you to hop on our YouTube because the footage of watching 200 tons of potatoes just getting dumped into a hole, it's unsettling,
It makes me sad.
It's crazy. I mean, Ireland had a huge famine with
Wait.
potatoes. I wish we could just bring all those potatoes back to the 1850s and feed the Irish.
Don't they use potatoes in recycling? Can't you make things from potatoes, like product?
I mean, you can make alarm clocks.
of course, someone already said this is why we need Steven here because of your random knowledge. I think it was AJ
know.
in the chat. But you can make
Yeah, it's like the
alarm clocks
it's
out
the
of potatoes.
it's the standard like middle school science project. Is potatoes generate enough of an electrical current that you can put two diodes in them and attach it to a.
I feel like I remember seeing that, but I never did it.
You can make
You
a
know?
potato clock, or you can make a potato light bulb.
We should do that too.
It can power a little light bulb.
A potato.
A potato, yeah.
Because of its electrical current?
Yeah, because it's just a potato. So really, they're burying energy because we could really run America on potatoes, I think.
All those potatoes could light up a city.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Maybe.
We
A small one.
Or like our house.
A big house.
Can you
Imagine
imagine we cover the lawn with potatoes and we attach diodes. Is that what you said?
It's something like electrodes, whatever the word is.
Electrodes, and all of a
Sure.
sudden it's lit up.
How do you power your house? This is 700 tons of potato power, baby.
Yeah.
Potato power.
I feel like this is how Idaho is like staying under the radar. They probably power on potatoes.
Ah.
Idaho Spuds is actually a up and coming energy plant. Not really. I'm just kidding. Just so you know.
Guys, this is, I think it gets wilder by the day.
Yeah.
I would agree. As long as the potatoes don't come to life and try to kill us, that feels like it'd be the next logical
The
step.
murder of potatoes.
I mean,
Murder
Jeff, the
potatoes.
real conspiracy theory here is that the potatoes actually started generating too much electricity that it would have competed with nuclear power, so they had to bury them before people could get access to them. You see, that's the conspiracy theory I'm going to go with, because I really think the government's covering up potato power.
Potato
Sure, Steven.
power.
Stephen
Potato
Lemieux.
power.
So I wonder what a potato, if consumed, what kind of electrical current it has within the body. We should have an expert on our show.
Ooh.
We should have an expert on the show to talk about the electrical currents of potatoes in the body.
Well, they used
Maybe
to.
that's why potatoes are bad for us.
I mean, the carbohydrates are energy, basically.
Sweet potatoes.
So it
Do
makes
they count
sense.
Same, are we gonna count those as bad too, though? We need a potato expert.
We need a
Jeff?
potato expert. I know. I
Jeff, make it
have
happen.
wanted to bring on like a sciencey nerd guy for a fun show, and I have a couple feelers out that I need to clear with you, Maria. But I think it'd be
Yeah.
really fun.
I wonder if like
AJ
early
would
versions.
probably know.
He probably
yeah,
would.
he would.
He knows everything.
Would early versions of the electric chair just be like dumping a ton of potatoes on somebody?
Oh my god.
Possibly.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Steven, your brain sounds exhausting.
Truly.
It's the portion you guys get of it is exhausting to you, I'm sure.
Oh
No,
my
it's great.
Lord. Guys, it's just so, I don't know, it's so crazy. It is such a crazy time. It's such a crazy time. Like, Europe won't let you in, right? So, like, if my parents, like their dream is to just get to Greece like one more time. And I'm like, guys, you're going to be fine. You'll get there. Can't go to Greece. They can't go home. They can't go to Connecticut. My brother's texting me. He's like, how are you doing? I'm like, well, I've spent the last year trying to keep our mother alive and have succeeded. And, COVID, my business, all of that. Yeah, it's a really challenging time. He's like, but I kept our flowers from last year at our name day party alive. And he sent me pictures of the orchids that he's kept alive since last
Wow.
year. And I was like,
Whoa.
that's positive.
You're keeping your mom alive. He's keeping the flowers alive.
Yeah.
You're all doing what you can.
Yeah.
Well, Maria, I applaud you for getting on the horse each day and coming on air. People need it and we need it. And I know it hasn't been easy, but it means a lot. We're grateful.
Well, life is like a roller coaster, right? Unless you're a yogi and you're a good yogi and you can stay here. For the rest of us, we have highs and lows, and we're going through a few lows right now. There's some stuff, but like the most important thing when you're going through the lows is to try to remember the things you're grateful for. And that kind of can balance things out. So at night, as you know, I do my list of things I'm grateful for, and then I start to realize, oh, today wasn't so bad, right? There's so many things to be grateful for. And yeah, it's just, it's definitely probably the most challenging time for humans in modern times.
Well, about roller coasters, the lower you go, the higher it's going to shoot you up, though. So
Yeah.
we're going to go high.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
They go
gonna
low,
be
we
good.
go high.
What'd
Low
you say?
Michelle, I said they go low, we go high.
They go low, we go
Michelle.
high, which is true, which is what we are doing. And it is, it's the only way. You have to try to find ways to shift out of the negative and shift into better feeling thoughts. And that's what we talk about when we talk about Esther Hicks here or on the Patreon. If you haven't joined us at Patreon, please do. We're doing really cool stuff over there. We have a great episode lined up for you today.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, never do that.
Yeah, we should probably tell people to subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, I'm really bad at that. Once we have Kelsey here
Hey.
in a
She
more
actually knows what she's doing.
in a bigger capacity,
that's the
then
big
she's
thing.
going to help me build up that YouTube channel because we've
Dang
not
right I
given
am.
it enough love. We need to give it more love.
My brain goes too many weird places. Hers is on the show. So that's,
Too many weird places. This is such an accurate description, Stephen. By the way, did you realize it's almost Christmas, everybody? What?
it's July. What the heck?
It's almost
July
Leon Day.
1st.
What the heck?
Guys, it's July 1st.
Jeff, it was already Leon Day.
June
June
25th.
25th.
You remember when this whole
Kevin
thing
would be
started
so
in
mad
March?
at you.
Yeah, Kevin would be really mad at me.
Very mad.
Yeah.
I'm used to Christmas in July. I was conflating those two things.
Yeah. That's valid.
Yeah, I think it's just wild to see. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I keep having this moment. Like, first of all, I was drinking at some point in the quarantine. Now that's even boring. I don't even do that. And then I've kind of since realized that I'm allergic to wine. But
Yeah.
Kelsey keeps promising she's going to take me to buy sulfate-free wine, and I'm going to try that. But I'm just kind of like I keep wanting to go see people, go do something, and then you're like, "Wah, wah." Can't.
That's our world. I mean, Maria, you could consider doing some social distance, like small groups, especially with your tennis court. It's not too hard for you guys to be around each other.
Really, when Corona's exploding in our state, is this the moment to do that?
Probably not. It's a good
No,
point.
it's
Yeah.
not. Now we're back to where we were. There was that window when we kind of were a little, right?
Yeah.
And now it's just back to the dungeon.
Back to the dungeon.
But I will say, everybody, we're all going through it together, and we hopefully will come out the other side better, and just try to keep consuming good content and good positive content. I think even Kevin has officially abandoned all of his content of the past and he's just watching history or he's actually listening to Beethoven or like classical music, which is so not Kevin, but he even sees that he needs it. So you're not alone. We're all in it together, and we'll continue to bring people here on this show that will help enlighten us and make us better, because when you know better,
You get better.
Yes.
you get better. All right, let's go to our interview with Dr. Amanda Gummer. She's an author and a psychologist with over 20 years experience working with children and families. She's widely considered as the go-to expert on play, toys, and child development. She combines her theoretical knowledge with a refreshingly pragmatic approach to family life, and she's here to help us identify and maintain the positive benefits of quality time in quarantine. Dr. Gummer, thank you so much for joining us all the way in the UK.
Me. It's lovely to be here.
What time is it there?
It's just after 7 in the evening.
Oh, wonderful. And how is the coronavirus in the UK currently?
Tricky. I think we're on a bit of a knife edge waiting to see what happens next, because we're relaxing quite a lot of the restrictions, especially this weekend coming, and we're going to wait and see what happens to that. I think different people have different perspectives, so yeah, it's not a fun time, that's for sure.
Yeah. How are you staying positive, if you are? How are you battling the highs and lows of quarantine as a psychologist? And yeah.
I definitely keep the routine. I think having a structure to your day really helps. And personally, I practice the gratitude, and I have 2 teenagers, so they keep me pretty grounded, and I'm focusing on them, which gives me a sort of purpose. And I think having a reason to get out of bed in the morning definitely is important. And if you don't have one, find one. I think that would be the message.
Yeah. I think, it's we were talking earlier about how quarantine in the beginning was kind of this novelty. It was so exciting for a lot of people to get to be home with their families, to do things that have never happened before, right? The world has never shut down. We've never had this kind of time to spend with our families, have dinner at home, kind of create your own schedule in a sense. Because the world had to make adjustments, and employers had to realize that people were having to homeschool their kids and work and
Yeah.
do everything at once. So it was a novelty at first, and I remember speaking to a lot of my friends who were like, "This is amazing. I'm actually loving it." And I haven't really taken people's temperature lately, but I just know from myself, I was one of those people in the beginning who was like, oh, I'm a homebody. This is great. I'm totally good. I don't have FOMO. I'm never running out because I need to, go see what everybody else is doing. But even I am now antsy and uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I think especially if you have young children, I think the novelty of not going to school has definitely worn off. We did some research recently that said that 80% of parents were struggling with ideas of what to do with their kids. Now the first flush of, oh great, we get to do a treasure hunt, we get to do baking together, we get to do this, and the sort of the obvious stuff worked for a while, and then now people are really struggling with ideas of keeping the kids entertained and ideally off the screens, which is why the Genius of Play Together campaign, I think, is a really good initiative. So that's on geniusofplay.org. If you look at Play Today campaign, you get different ideas each day, a calendar. It's a fantastic way to give parents that support in finding things, because when do we ever have to entertain our kids 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? It's just, we're not used to it.
Sounds daunting to me. So is this like a website people go to, Play Today?
Yeah, so it's the geniusofplay.org/play today. And there's a calendar, activities every day, some experiments to help kids with sciencey stuff, things for all different ages. And yeah, it's a great initiative from the Toy Association.
And so you're hearing, and your research is showing that parents are starting to get maybe a little disenchanted by all of this now.
Yeah, maybe a little battle weary. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you prevent that from getting worse? Like, how do you prevent yourself and your psyche from getting worse in this very challenging time?
With all of these things, prevention is better than cure. So it's much better if you can start off. I think one of the mistakes I've seen happen is people start off with, oh, this is amazing family time. We can do all of this stuff together. It's going to be great. We're going to do, they go full pelt into perfect family life, Brady Bunch type stuff. And then that wears a bit thin. And I think setting reasonable expectations is really important. Not expecting to be your child's entertainer for every waking moment is also important. Understanding the benefits of giving your kids a balanced play diet and giving them opportunities to play on their own, opportunities to play creatively, to play competitively, to experiment, to learn, and do things with you as well as with their siblings or friends where they can. And giving that mix also gives the parents a bit of a break as well. And I think one of the mistakes we make as parents is to think we have to be super mom or super dad and do it all for our children. Actually, we need to let them find their own fun, find the things that they're interested in, and give them some space to do that, which also in our benefit gives us the time and the space for a bit of a breather. So I think that's definitely one of the key lessons.
So how do you approach screen time with kids and play?
So I have developed the concept of a balanced play diet in the same way that you balance a children's nutrition. You don't give them lots of chips and chocolate all the time. You balance it out and you have the superfoods. You have the superfoods of a play diet too. So active, imaginative, social, free, child-led play. Very difficult to get too much of because kids are learning so much when they're doing that. If they're outside playing with their friends, they're active, they're getting rid of energy, they're building their muscles, they're being fit and healthy, they're forging relationships, they're problem solving, they're using their imagination. All of that really good stuff, very difficult to get too much of. And then the screen time is almost like the sweets and the treats of the play diet. So if it's passive, solitary and sedentary, everybody needs a bit of downtime, everybody needs to be able to kick back and relax and not have to think too hard, and that's fine. but it shouldn't make up the majority of your play diet in the same way that chips and chocolate don't make up the majority of your nutritional diet. So when you put it in that framework, it's less dictatorial. We're not telling parents, oh, your child should only have 10 minutes of screen time a day or an hour of screen time a day or whatever. We're saying, make sure they're getting the balance. So if they are able to do the creative, imaginative, active stuff, and then they collapse on the sofa in front of the telly for a while, or they want their iPad or whatever, then that's fine. If what they're doing is all solitary, sedentary, and passive, you need to look at that and address it, because you're going to end up with the sort of developmental equivalent of childhood obesity, because they're not getting enough of the stimulating, developmentally beneficial stuff that's really going to help them thrive.
How do you explain to parents or guide parents through some of the guiltier moments in their day when they're having to shush the kids or they lose their patience with the kids? You were saying earlier that you can't allow them to think that it's always going to be playtime and they have to rely on the parent for all of those moments. So how do you guide them through that?
I think it's about communication. So depending on the age of the child, children are generally have an inbuilt sense of fairness, and they understand that you have to work. And if you explain to them that you're now working from home rather than working in the office, and rather than them going to school or childcare, they're at home as well. So you just need to find a way through it, and you talk it through in an age appropriate way. You can have an amazingly productive conversation, set some roles and boundaries, and maybe you agree that, they'll do some educational stuff in the morning you'll supervise that while you're maybe checking some emails or something. And then they'll have lunch, and then maybe you have a movie hour where you put them in front of an age appropriate, hopefully something stimulating screen time that they can then that they're going to be then watching that, and you reward them for being quiet whilst you then take a call or do some work. And then after that, you can spend some quality time making tea together or stuff like that. So it's about bringing the quality time into your everyday routines, but also setting some boundaries and communicating with your children about the expectations and making sure that the kids know where the boundaries are, and that they benefit, the whole family benefits if everybody sticks to the rules.
Yeah. I wonder, I feel like I have that issue even with my mom, right? I'm her caretaker, and if I'm having to, Mom, I'm on the phone, I can't talk right now, give me a minute or whatever, like I feel so guilty.
I know my kids always know to ask me for a biscuit if I'm on the phone, because I'm just like, yeah, it's fine.
But there are a lot of things that the quarantine has served and given us that are positive. So how do we hold on to the things that we really have grown to cherish in this quarantine?
I think it's I think this has been an amazing opportunity once you get past the stress and strain of the pandemic and the economic implications and everything. For those families that have been able to just reconnect and spend a bit more time together, looking at how that feels, cherishing that, and making sure that you're putting stuff in place that can last. So things like a Friday film night, or cooking tea together every once or twice a week, or helping doing stuff in the garden, or those kind of joint activities that have become a habit through necessity now can be continued as a habit through choice when everything goes back to normal. And whether that is even stuff like making your packed lunches together when you're getting ready for school, when that restarts, and just that communication, those games that maybe you've played together as a family, keeping a family game night, anything that helps keep those bonds that I think have been strengthened and reconnected over the pandemic, I think could be really, really powerful. And for me, the most important thing is being able to know that the kids feel grounded and safe, because the anxiety levels, in mental health issues in kids at the minute are through the roof. And I think making sure that the kids feel safe and grounded, and that they belong in their family setting. They've got traditions, they've got routines, they've got things that they've got used to doing, habits that they do that make them feel like they're part of that family. Keep that going. And I think that's a really positive, playful, fun way for the whole family to thrive throughout, from coronavirus onwards, really.
Have you found when you said mental health and all of that is skyrocketing, you're finding that now because of quarantine or just in general it was?
There was a growing trend before COVID-19, and I think that's been exacerbated by the issues around the coronavirus, the lockdown. Kids pick up on parents' worries, so parents worrying about losing their jobs and being ill and having ill family members and all of that kind of stuff. Kids pick up on all of that. So yeah, I think we're in for a bit of a rocky ride with certainly children and teenage mental health over the next few years.
So how do you guide your kids at different ages, obviously, through those anxieties and those, kind of mental health challenges, especially if they're newer, without, I feel like a certain amount of struggle is always, helpful for growth too, right? If we keep padding the walls and making everything perfect for kids, it's...
They don't learn. Yeah, no, they don't learn the resilience. And that's so
Yeah.
important. Helping kids develop resilience, absolutely paramount in terms of giving them skills for life. So yeah, it's all about communication as far as I'm concerned, and age appropriate communication. And I think one of the mistakes we tend to make as parents is to give our young children too much information, too much detail about stuff, but then maybe not be open enough with our teenagers. So getting that right, I think is really key for positive mental health. But I have to say, I think play is the way forward. When you're playing a game, you're focusing on the game, the worries of the day sort of disappear. You're all in it together. You're laughing. You're being silly together. You're having fun. You're relieving stress. You're creating bonds. You're creating memories, and creating that playful opportunities within your day is such a powerful way to provide children with the skills and the resources and the resilience to fight some of those mental health issues that are, coming down the track.
I agree. It's a form of meditation, right?
Yeah, I think the power of play is so undervalued, and that's why the Genius of Play campaign is such an important issue. But I think play. Whether it's a toddler playing to learn how to count, or learn how to share, learn how to win well, learn how to problem solve, compromise, negotiate, all of those things. And when you've got an older child and a younger child, the older child learns leadership skills and the younger child learns to follow instructions. And it's so authentic, so natural, and so powerful that I think it should have a much bigger place in our education system, in our family lives, and in society generally. I mean, I want to see streets being able to be closed so that kids can play in them. I want parks to be made, a priority in any town planning, all of that stuff to encourage that playful approach. And I think a lot of the situations that we find ourselves in today wouldn't be half as bad if some of our politicians had played a little bit more as kids.
I love that. I believe in that because I know for myself as an adult, I need it. I need to play, and whether it's playing pickleball or charades or whatever, I know I need that in my life because it's the only thing that gets me to just let go of all of the worries and the concerns and the fears, and meditation does too, but it's different when you get to get those adrenaline rushes
and that release when you laugh out loud. It's so fun. And the other thing that play does that I think in this social media world is so important is when you mess up. The whole point about play is being silly and making mistakes and falling over and picking yourself up and trying again. Kids are under so much pressure to be perfect, and this social media life is perfect, Instagram, whatever. And I think for kids to see parents do things wrong, maybe lose a game, maybe make a mistake, whatever, and learn how to apologize if they got it wrong, or learn how to fix it, or learn how to learn from their mistakes. Again, that's building that resilience, which is so important because that pressure on the kids to be perfect is one of the most toxic pressures, I think, facing kids today. So being able to, through play, learn to make mistakes and that's normal and okay, and you learn from them, is a really powerful lesson.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking yesterday, funny enough, a friend of mine was sending me all these really cool filters for Instagram. And I started laughing because I said, just a few years ago, there were so many celebrities who were attacking magazines for photoshopping them and making them look more perfect. And they were pushing back on magazines. And now they're doing it themselves with Instagram. You're like, wait, what are we doing here?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that's play is so authentic. You know, you're there, you're in the moment, you're absorbed in what you're doing. Families are, you know, different generations, lots of different kids together. It's very real. And I think being able to help kids learn to differentiate between a real and a digital life, really important. And I think the more of the real life you experience through play, the better equipped you are to recognize that the digital life is, you know, photoshopped or fake and shouldn't be taken too seriously, I guess.
Yeah, what is your take on social media with kids?
Well, all of the social media platforms should be 13 plus, and I know that there are some safe spaces for kids to engage, but I also know that a lot of young children get onto social media, and I worry because their social and emotional development isn't ready to handle some of the stuff that they see on social media and some of the comments that they would receive and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's 13 plus for a reason, and I would encourage parents to stick to that. And if you are letting your kids go on it, make sure you're their friend, make sure you're seeing what they're doing, because it's a dangerous place out there, and it's very unregulated and unknown as yet. So in the same way that, you know, you teach kids about stranger danger and you don't get in somebody's car and you don't tell somebody where you live, all of that stuff applies, and it applies just as much online. So there's a sort of general parenting standards are the same whether you're digital or physical, but just making sure that kids aren't substituting a real life for a digital one, I think. And the older you can be when you start that, or the longer you can put that off for kids, the better, I think.
Yeah. What do you say to parents who don't feel like they're good at playing with their kids?
Oh, I get this so much. Lots of parents say to me, "But how do I play with my kids? I'm worried about getting it wrong, or I don't like playing. I feel a fool." Or so there's so many different types of play. It's not, you know, if you don't like dressing up and pretending to be pirates, that's fine. Play a board game. If you don't like playing board games, that's okay. Bake together with your kids, or go on a walk and do a scavenger hunt. It's not about play. Isn't one thing. It's about an attitude, and it's about connecting and sharing fun, positive experiences in a playful manner. So whether it's, you know, getting kids to help you pair the socks and play a game of match with the socks, or, you know, catch with a ball of clothes or something, you know, any of that kind of stuff is all playful. And it's about sort of switching your approach and changing play from being something that as a parent you are supposed to do. It's a chore on your to-do list, to being a way of life and a way of thinking of things. The Mary Poppins approach, you know, just making everything into a bit of a game, trying to make learning fun, trying to make chores fun, trying to make life fun. And that benefits the parents too.
Yeah.
Speaking of, you know, benefiting parents, Amanda, we've been talking a lot about playing with your kids, but, you know, Maria's married without children, I'm married without children, and I'd have to imagine that play and fun is important in your intimate relationships as well, even as adults.
Sure, play is important for everybody. I think it was Plato that said that you learn more about somebody in an hour of play than a lifetime of conversation. And I think that's true.
I love that.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah. And then the other one is you don't stop playing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop playing. So, you know, keep young, keep playful. It's that childlike wonder about the world, and I wonder what happens if, and wouldn't it be fun if, and let's try this. And it's that curiosity and it's that playfulness that I think keeps us young. So yeah, absolutely. I think adults should be playing as well. And I think the more adults play, the more children will play, and the better the world will be.
I 100% agree. I love this. Dr. Gummer, thank you so much. I feel like there was so many great takeaways in here, but just the importance of play. It really is just like a magical thing for you, for your kids. I have dogs, so I do it with my dogs, and I feel like I think it's something that we don't really talk about. I've never heard anybody talk about this actually.
Well, I can talk about it for hours. So, and I, you know, if you're interested, that website, thegeniusofplay.org, is a great place to start. And their Play Today hub is full of ideas. So anybody who is struggling with ideas on how to get more playful and the benefits of play should check that out.
I love it. We're going to put that in the link, in the summary, and a link. And then if you want more information on Dr. Gummer, you can go to Twitter, Dr. Amanda Gummer, Gummer. We'll put that link in the summary as well. Or You can go to @goodplayguide on Instagram. You can get her books. Amanda's book Play, Fun Ways to Help Your Child Develop in the First 5 Years is available on Amazon. Or you can go to www.goodplayguide.com. Thank you so much, Dr. Gummer. Nice chatting with you.
Really nice to chat to you too.
We'll speak
Thanks.
soon. Tomorrow, guys, we have a 4th of July special. My bestie Meredith is going to be back joining us with world-renowned restaurateur, Chef Mark Murphy, who you guys know is a judge on all 43 seasons. They have 43 seasons?
Isn't that crazy?
Wait, I don't understand. That's like how?
They do 2 a year, and
Oh
it's been
my
on
Lord.
since 2000.
Holy moly, chopped. Wow. We're going to
Yeah.
do a cooking demo tomorrow. We haven't done a cooking segment in a long time, so I'm really excited to
Me
do
too.
that. I've missed it. Speaking of play and having fun. So, yeah, now I know that I'm not a weirdo. I always I used to host game nights all the time at my house, and pickleball for everyone in the chat who's asking, which I feel like somebody's got to be on chat duty. I don't know who, but
We can start being on chat duty.
okay, great. Pickleball is like tennis meets ping pong. It's so much fun. And it is the fastest growing sport as well.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, yes. I've got some stats.
Do you feel like there's a social distance way the team could play pickleball one day after a show?
Absolutely.
That'd be really fun.
Yeah.
We could send the video to Dr. Gummer and say, look, we're practicing your research.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that was such a big takeaway for all of us, and especially in quarantine, when our mental health is being a little challenged, is finding ways to play. I know after this, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to take my old citrus, not my fresh citrus, the old citrus that's on the ground, and start throwing them at you guys. I can't even talk. Throwing them at you guys.
Perfect.
Dodgeball
We're
with the
ready.
citrus.
I love that.
But it's like rotten citrus.
oh.
As long as it's not the pomelos, those will leave marks. Let's do the tangelos. I'll take that.
Oh my God. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us as always. Tomorrow we'll be cooking. Join us. In the meantime, follow us at Maria Menounos, at Stephen Lemieux Photo, at Jeff Crane Graham, at Kelsmeyer too.
Hey.
All right, cool. And remember, be nice people, make good choices, and play and be present.